everybody, my name is Stephanie Strange and I talk about the paranormal, strange, and I'm also a psychic medium. So what is happening with planes and people seeing strange things, and is this a new phenomenon? Well, I'm here to talk about how it's really not. There's been stories and movies and things that have come out since forever. Now, before we begin today's spooky tale, I do want to tell you guys that I will be covering a couple of things. The distressed people that are on planes, talking about what I think about this, and also movies and media, movies and shows that have been sort of about this sort of thing, if that makes sense. And in addition to that, I do want to talk about things that people have seen in the sky. Now, let's get on with today's spooky stuff. A couple of weeks ago, a woman who was in distress was on a plane and she was screaming that something or somebody was not real. Let's play the clip.
Whatever you want. I'm telling you, I'm getting the off, and there's a reason why I'm getting the off, and everyone can either believe it or they cannot believe it. I don't give two but I am telling you right now, that mother back there is not real. And you can sit on this plane and you can die with them or not. I'm not going to. Bye.
All right, so as we know, in the video, she doesn't talk about reptilians, she doesn't talk about aliens, she doesn't talk about ghosts. But of course, with this video, so many theories surfaced the internet. People saying that she saw a reptilian and that they're everywhere. The other thing too is people saying that it was a shapeshifter. I do want to preface this and say that I was on this YouTube channel, Unearthing the Supernatural, and we did talk about a little bit about like just the Navajo culture, since they are Navajo paranormal investigators. And even we went on another podcast, I was hosting it, and they did ask about this. I don't know when the podcast will come out, but it's going to be on Real Hauntings. And they did kind of like talk about what the reality is of shapeshifters and the lore of that. Now, I know people when they bring up the word shapeshifters, they bring up skinwalkers, which is why I kind of went into the whole Navajo thing. And if you are somebody that believes in that, I do want to say that you should totally listen to Navajo Indigenous folks when they talk about these things, because ultimately there's a lot of sensationalism with this topic. I don't think a skinwalker would be on a plane and would let alone do something like that. My understanding of skinwalkers and things of that nature is that they used to be this very secret society, kind of like when you think of the Masons. Now, they practiced a form of magic, and of course, it got let out to the public and it became very sensationalized. There's good and bad magic with it, of course. People just assume that they're inhuman when it's not all what it is entailed. Again, I really recommend that you should check out Navajo Indigenous folks to talk about this topic, because it is very much sensationalized. Now, with that being said, with this video, a lot of other videos came out. There's one here that was obviously debunked. Carrot Top came out and said something about it as well, and how overall she was probably on something. In addition to that, there were other people saying that she was drinking. I will say though, and as someone who used to party, like when I was younger, I did party a lot, I did drink, and there was times where I did drink to the point where I blacked out. I was very young. Needless to say, it wasn't a lot. Like I had a few moments where I blacked out, and then after that I stopped. No. And I don't even drink anymore, really, to be honest with you. Like, nah. But anyway, like, I just don't really believe that drinking that much would cause you to hallucinate and act out in such a way. What I will say, though, is that maybe if she was having anxiety and she was drinking, and then she may have taken some medication, and the mixture and the combination, the two might have made her freak out that way. I could definitely see that. The other thing I'm willing to say is maybe mental health. Mental health is a big one, and it's always a fine line when it comes to certain things within the spectrum of the paranormal and the supernatural. While I do believe that some people may have had like paranormal experiences and supernatural experiences, I always like to sway in the way of mental health and like making sure that that person is in a good state of mind before swaying even to those theories. Now, there was another video where someone was talking about an AirPod. This is like a new video that came out a couple of days ago. So let's play that video clip here.
Okay, so for everybody who has seen the viral video of the crazy lady that got kicked off the American Airlines flight yesterday going from DFW to Orlando, I just kind of wanted to clear up some things because there's a lot of people that have a lot of questions. So we all boarded the plane. We were on time. Everything was going fine. There was no issues. This woman boarded the plane. We actually took off, like we left the terminal, and we were pulling out onto the runway, fixing to take off, and all of a sudden, so this lady had been drinking prior to getting on the plane, evidently. Some people said they seen her at the bar next to the terminal. Anyway, so she was sitting in her seat, and I guess she had a pair of AirPods, and they said she had them in her hand, and then within seconds, we don't know if she pocketed them or where she put them. She misplaced them somehow, and she started yelling at the guy next to her, who of course was African American, and saying that he stole her AirPods. And so she started screaming, "Stop the plane, stop the plane." I went off the plane, and so the plane turned around. We hadn't left the ground yet. Anyways, the plane turned around, went back to the terminal. They, that's when that video was shot, was on the way back to the terminal. She was, screaming that we were all gonna die. I can't say I didn't question once or twice whether or not I wanted to even stay on the plane, but they ended up escorting her off of the plane. Then we waited on the plane probably about 45 minutes, and then they wanted us to get off the plane, and we had to take all of our stuff off of the plane because of all the comments that this woman was making about us dying. And so we all got off the plane, and they had not arrested her at this point because while we're sitting there waiting for them to sweep the plane, make sure that there's nothing wrong with the plane, they also had to take off all of the luggage from underneath the plane, go through it, take the lady's luggage off. While all this is going on, this lady actually came back walking towards the terminal like she was still going to get on the plane, and a lady was blocking her way from going over there, and then another guy came, and they got her and they led her away, and then they announced it. Of course, everybody was clapping and cheering that she did not get let back over there. And then they let the I guess the 3 flight attendants that were originally on the plane that were dealing with this lady, they said due to the circumstances that they had to get off the plane, and so they had to have 3 more flight attendants come in, so we ended up delayed about 4 hours coming into Orlando. But and I've heard a lot of questions, people wondering who she was saying didn't exist. The person she was saying did not exist was the flight attendant who originally was dealing with the complaint whenever she started yelling and screaming about the guy supposedly stealing her AirPods. So there's the story. If you guys have any more questions, let me know.
I do want to point out that this video also came out from a different angle on the plane. She talks about her stuff, but never brings up AirPods, not to say that didn't happen or anything, just an interesting observation.
Now, on July 6th, did a video of a man on board yelling at an unknown person before being restrained. This is what it says. A British man was allegedly disturbed so badly by the passenger sitting next to him on a plane that he tried to open the door of the plane and leave. So let's play the clip here. I'll watch it with you guys.
Yo! Get him out! What the fuck is happening right now?
Here that it is believed that the man had attended a musical festival and was suffering from drug-induced psychosis. So that was the conclusion. However, I do now want to segue into the strange, supernatural, the unexplained phenomenon aspect of this. Now, with that being said, I mentioned a couple of logical explanations to this, and again, I've always want to sway on that. But I do want to talk about some of these things because of the supernatural stuff and the paranormal stuff. Because is this new? Is the idea of people having freakouts on a plane new? Absolutely not. With the explanation of people having mental health problems, freakouts, and so forth. No, absolutely not. What's really interesting though is that in 1963, a Twilight episode, I believe it's called 20,000 Feet Up in the Air or something like that, was released, and it was about a man who had seen something on the plane and started to freak out. Now, there is a book that I read, Lore, in the podcast Lore, where there was a story of a man who claimed to have seen gremlins on a plane. So I'm going to play the 1963 version. While there is more, there was like the 1983 version, I believe, and even more moderns on it. I want to stick to the original though, because it is interesting, and let's get classic. Cringe, I know, but sorry, just have to put up with it while we watch this, okay? Anyway.
Here, quickly! There's a man out there.
What?
Look, he's crawling on...
Right? It is fascinating to see how, like, stories of this is not new. Which goes to show is, you know, I'm sure people can take the mental health route. People can take the supernatural route. It's always going to be there, regardless of whether we sway one way or not, right?
Flight attendants prepare for departure.
Attention! Notre voyage commence!
Whatever.
We know that, like, movies and stuff has been written about people seeing strange phenomenon on a plane since forever at this point. I do want to kind of get into a little bit something different. Like, it is similar but kind of different, and I want to talk about like a couple of situations that have happened in time that are just strange phenomenons that people have spotted in the sky, if you will, because people are bringing up the whole theories with UFOs. I figured it'd be, you know, interesting since we talk about media. Why not bring in the UFO? It's a poppin' subject right now, right? All right, the Kenneth Arnold UFO sighting happened in 1947. Commercial pilot Kenneth Arnold spotted a group of 9 unidentified flying objects while flying over Washington state. Now, This site is widely regarded as the first modern UFO sighting and sparked a wave of similar reports thereafter. Of course, there's been logical explanations for these, but we already know that UFOs are basically now a thing that the government has definitely come out and admitted to, essentially saying that they are a threat, and I think they're called UAPs now or something like that. But regardless of the situation, it is strange. People have seen things in the sky. Am I saying that distressed people have seen something in the sky? No, I'm not. But what I am saying is that this is not new territory, and people have been seeing things for a very long time, enough to maybe feel inspired to make movies and shows about it. Anyway, if you guys have anything else that you guys want to discuss about this topic, let me know down below, because I want to continue the conversation. And as always, stay strange.